money and how to invest for a bright future. And Nilesh Bhai has promised me that in this entire session today, he will only use the word tip, not sip. So Nilesh Bhai, how can one make money by not participating in SIP? Give us a tip.
Well, as most of you will agree, India is a rising story.
वो पता है सर, वो आयशा ने बता दिया. India is great, India is rising. We are the 5th largest market economy in the world. Now you've come, everybody is waiting for you. They want to know, Nilesh Bhai, how can you invest and make money? That's it. बस और कुछ नहीं. एक सवाल में I'll end this discussion.
When you are giving me a low volley, and I was resisting not to hit it, but now I don't have a choice. Just invest in Kotak mutual fund and that's it.
Shankar Sharma, you don't manage public money. You don't manage public money. But if somebody comes to you that way, Shankar Bhai, manage public money. But before that, give us an idea, how will you manage public money?
Let me give you the reason why right now I don't manage it. You should manage public money in a bear market because that assures your bread and butter. In a bull market, you should manage your own money because why should you settle for 0.5% when you can make 1,000%? So you see, I'm very flexible. I'll switch between public and personal money depending on the market. So I'm managing personal money because I'm very, very bullish. I can make 1,000%. So, you know, and that's what you're making and you will continue to make in India. I mean, this is, you know, I get a lot, I hear a lot on Twitter that you guys were lucky you were born in the 60s, so you entered the markets, you know, when you were in your 20s, which was 35 years back, India was small, big opportunities, you could make outsized gains. But I disagree. I think with the larger size, the opportunities, the scale itself becomes much larger, much, much larger. So today it's actually probably the best time in the history of in India that you should be out there investing. Because a $3 trillion economy will grow. You will simply add $150, $200 billion in GDP every year, which used to be the GDP when I entered the market. So, I mean, just the scale is massive. Nothing is lost. It's not too late. Get in now.
Mark, how are you approaching this market? Indian markets are not far away from an all-time high. The Bank Nifty last week hit an all-time high. For somebody who's not invested in the market right now, according to you, how is the risk-reward ratio stacked up?
I think, you know, one of the things we learned from this session we just experienced, this idea of consciousness and positivity. In other words, the power of positive thinking is so critical when you're investing. Because as you just said, it doesn't make any difference when you're going to be investing. It's a matter of being invested because in the long run, the markets will go up. There will be periods of bear markets, yes, but in the long run, the bull market will be very, very fruitful for investors. So if you ask me, should we invest now? Yes, we should be invested now. And particularly when we look at India with this incredible growth, 7% growth for a population of over 1.4 billion people. This is an incredible accomplishment. And this, I believe, will continue going forward. So the best time to invest is when you have money.
Mark, you know, first, thank you that you've been part of, you know, the IEC conference from last couple of years. In 2017, when you came for the first edition of IEC Mumbai, you had one investment in India, then it became 2. Last time when we spoke, it is 3. This is the 4th time you've come to IEC. So can I say that you have 4 investments in India now?
It's amazing that you remember that. And it's also amazing we now have 4 investments in India.
So what are those 4 investments? I only know 3. Apollo, Persistent, and then I'm lost the last 2 names.
Well, of course, we have the Apollo.
Yeah,
you know,
that we know.
The Apollo.
Persistent, you've told us.
I'm not going to tell you what the other one is because we're still buying.
At every IC, you tell us a name. At every IC, you tell us a name. So
basically, you know, we're looking at technology, fundamentally, and we're looking particularly at, in the future, at hardware, because we believe that although India has made incredible accomplishments in software, you know, India is the leader globally in software exports, we believe going forward, hardware is going to be very critical and very important in India. So semiconductors and businesses related to semiconductors will become more and more critical in India. In our portfolio, the largest investments we have before India are Taiwan, and that's because of the semiconductor industry. And we believe this is going to be coming to India.
So you own 4 stocks in India, and one of them is directly, indirectly a play on semiconductor.
Well, no, it's software.
Okay.
Semiconductors not yet, but I believe going forward, this is going to be important.
Shankar, you are looking at investing where you can make 1,000% return. How are you investing? Where are you investing? And which is the next stock which could give 1,000% return?
I'm meeting potentially one such company tomorrow.
Can I come with you?
Well, let me finish investing, and then you're most welcome to come with me.
So which is the last company you've already met? Tell me that one.
This morning I met one which I'm already invested in, and I think it's a great story. And I'm making about, not a lot, about 60% in less than 6 months' time. So we'll take that, right? I mean, that's not 1,000%.
आप blind खेल रहे हो. Scene की बात करते हैं.
No, but there are, I mean, I'm really telling you, Nikun, it is incredible, the entrepreneurial energy. It has never failed to amaze me. That the number of companies out there with fantastic business models, and now promoters that generally improve their governance or being forced to improve their governance by more stringent laws. Whatever be the reason, at least there's better transparency, and valuations are still not demanding. I mean, I can tell you, if you do a simple run, and as media houses you will, you know, mid-teen multiples, also decent-sized companies are available. So this market is crazily undervalued at the mid and the small end of the market, for sure.
Now, notice the word crazily undervalued, and that's what I think we should focus on, that it's time to start doing treasure hunting in this kind of a market. So what, we are at 18,500 on the index. I think Shankar, Mark and Nilesh bhai, all of them are of the view that abhi to party shuru hui hai. So Nilesh bhai, party kyun shuru hui hai? Why do you think right now the best is yet to come for the Indian markets? Because historically we've seen economy and markets, they don't run together.
So let me give 2 answers, one lighter way, one serious. There is a small bank in Maharashtra called Shamrao Vittal Bank. There is a big, large bank called Silicon Valley Bank in US. SVB is the 16th largest bank in America. A day has come where our Shamrao Vittal Bank has to say, when you talk about SVB going into bankruptcy, that is that American bank, not the Indian bank. ऐसा दिन आपने कभी सोचा था कि इंडिया में आएगा? So that's the lighter vein answer. That's why you have to invest here. But on a serious note, the state from where I come, Maharashtra, today Maharashtra has a GDP which is equivalent to India's GDP in 2005. In 17 years, Maharashtra has reached where India was yesterday. 2001, UP and Uttarakhand were combined. Today's UP and Uttarakhand combined is where India was in 2001. And there are 3 other states, Tamil Nadu, Gujarat and Karnataka. They are today having that GDP which India had in 2000. In about 20 years, these 6 states have reached where India was yesterday. Now, if all of us continue to work in similar fashion for next 20 years, these 6 states will create today's 5 India. And then there are 20 other states which are also doing something. This is the journey of 1 India to 5 India in just 6 states. This is the journey of 1 India to multiple India in terms of GDP growth over next 20 years. This is the reason why you should invest.
Yeah, in fact, coincidentally, just before this this show, I was chatting with Ajay and had, in fact, coincidentally said the same data that I think Maharashtra must be about $1 trillion or so. And you know, that's more than the GDP of Saudi Arabia, which is, I think, about $850 billion and maybe twice the size of UAE, where I, reside. So just simply the scale of opportunity in each part of India, north, south, east, west, central, itself is equal to several European countries, let alone, the Asian peers. Which is why the smaller companies now have addressable markets, which are without even leaving their comfort zone of East India or Central India, they can do 400-500 crores of turnover, which wasn't there the case
I have a
before.
basic question. You like India? You can find small cap stock which can give 1000% return. India is where the growth is. तो आप दुबई में क्यों रहते हो? If India is so great, India में invest करना है, तो आप दुबई में क्यों रहते हो? India में रहना चाहिए.
Now I live in India quite a bit, as you know. I spend 4-5 months in a year in India, and 7-8 months in Dubai. It's fine.
शंकर, दिल तो है हिंदुस्तानी.
दिल क्या दिल, दिमाग, शरीर, हर चीज हिंदुस्तानी है. There's no debate about it, boss. 100%.
So I'll ask her.
और हम लोग दुबई को भी इंडिया ही बना चुके हैं, boss. We have made it India.
So I'll ask her.
If you call up an insurance company, you will find a Kalpesh on the other line. If you go to a hospital, you will find a Suresh on the other side. There are only Indians there, trust me.
So I'll ask a very basic question so that the audience can relate to it. Sensex. Chris Wood on ETNR last week said that Sensex could be 1 lakh in next 4 to 5 years. Do you see that happening, Nilesh?
निकुंज भाई, एक चीज हमने सीखी है, मार्केट को प्रिडिक्ट करने की कोशिश मत करो. More often than not, you will be wrong. But today, is 1 lakh Sensex looking unimaginable? Answer is no. And my request to this audience will be, just don't think about 1 lakh Sensex. Beyond that also there is a much, much longer journey. I'll give you a small example. We have heard about companies and their founders and promoters. Let me talk about a cooperative society, Amul. It is run by farmers, does not necessarily pay great salary to get good talent. In FY22, their turnover was 61,000 crore. This year it is 72,000 crore. It is India's largest FMCG company. In their annual report, they have stated that in 2047, we will become world's largest FMCG company with 18 lakh crore turnover. कोई भी सोचेगा लंबी फेंक रहा है. But this is Amul, which has created miracle. In 1970, India was importing milk. Our entire country's milk production was 16% of Europe's milk production. Amul's turnover is to the world's largest FMCG company today. Fast forward to 23, India is the world's largest milk producer, and we produce 1.5 times Europe's milk production. Amul ने milk में ये कर दिया तो FMCG में भी कर देगा.
Sorry to interrupt, but one data I came to know, I was very shocked to hear that in Dubai somebody told me that in Africa they have no milk. They import, despite having so much cattle, they have no milk. They import as milk powder.
Absolutely.
And that is because of those reasons Amul was formed, to keep out those elements and make a domestic milk industry. And that is the proof of the pudding, literally.
I proudly narrate this example to everyone that when I started my television career in 2000, the profit of Infosys, quarterly profit was 55 crores. Today, the quarterly profit of Infosys is about 4,000 crores. It's 23 years, 55 crore quarterly profit has become 4,000 crores. In last 20 years, what have we seen? We've seen 9/11, we've seen 2008, we've seen COVID crisis, we've seen taper tantrum, but the Sensex has beautifully gone from 5,000 to 60,000 plus. I guess that's the kind of timing we really are in. So Shankar, again, first let's get the headline Sensex. 4 to 5 years, do you see Sensex could touch 1 lakh?
Oh, I mean, I'm absolutely certain it will reach 1 lakh. Now, whether it happens in 4 years or 6 years, frankly, is really a meaningless debate. But looking at the nominal GDP growth rate, which we are looking, you can safely say we can grow between, say, 12 and 14%, maybe 10 and 14%. You will approximate that number, and if you compound it at that, so in 4 years, roughly from 60,000, you add another, say, it comes to approximately 1 lakh in 4 years. I mean, it's not a reach to see 1 lakh, just at the simple compounding of the nominal GDP rate. It's a given, and 100%.
So guys, if you're not invested, abhi train nahi chuti hai. We had 60,000 on the Sensex, and 1 lakh in next 4 to 5 years. We are in for some amazing return in terms of what capital markets actually could do. Mark, Sensex 1 lakh in next 4 to 5 years.
Possible, yes.
Why do you say that?
Definitely, yes, possible. Because you look at it this way, generally speaking, if a country is growing at 7%, you can expect companies, reasonably good companies, to be growing at 14%, double the growth rate of the country. So it's very possible that you can get this incredible growth in the size of the market and the actual investments in the market, no question.
My next round of question, I'll keep it very simple again. The most overrated sector in India and the most underrated sector in India.
Probably the most overrated are the banks, to begin with.
Yeah, I told you.
And the most underrated are the medium-sized companies in a number of sectors. In fact, we've been focusing on those medium-sized
Even Mark
companies.
go for the same client meeting. He does not like banks. He likes small cap and mid cap. Yeah.
So
And we live very close to each other.
He's also in Dubai, actually.
Yes, correct.
I'm making friends meet. I didn't know this.
No, my feeling is that the great opportunities are the non-indexed companies. That's where the great opportunities are.
Like non-index company, which ones?
Non-index companies, like if you look at our portfolio, none of them are in the index, but they still have good liquidity. But these are the great companies because
So
no one else is paying
the portfolio
attention.
companies you have, let's say Apollo and Persistent, you are happy to keep them for next 3 to 5 years?
Oh, definitely. We'll hold on to them for as long as they continue to grow.
Okay.
One of the amazing thing about India, because we do scans around the world in different markets, the number of companies that have a return on capital or return on assets of over 20% is amazing here. It's quite incredible. We look at other countries and very difficult to find. And if you have a company that has a ROE or ROA of 20% or more, they usually have no debt or very little debt. And usually they're growing at a pretty good pace. So this is the great thing about India, and it reflects the economy, of course, the fact that the country is growing so fast.
Shankar, same. The most overrated sector and the most underrated sector. You can't say banks. You can't say banks.
No. I mean,
Then
just
you can't
because
say
you
that.
asked him first doesn't mean that the answer is taken, right? I agree. I mean, in my view, banks are Nilesh will disagree, of course, but that's fine. That's the market. But my view is it's not a sector where, at least I want to put my money in. But Nilesh is a large public money manager. He can't avoid, banks given simply the size of the weight in the index. But from my perspective, and I agree with Mark that, I have an investment in a company, a very tiny company, which is maybe around 300 crore, or maybe 400 crore market cap. And I think the net worth is around 45 crores. And March 23, the full year, they've done about 25 crores in PAT. And the owner was telling me that is still a lot lower than what he thought he might deliver. So imagine on a 45 crore balance sheet, he's delivering 25 crores in profit. He's saying there is room for going to 35. That's a 50-70% return on equity. I mean, it's phenomenal. No country in the world will give you numbers of this kind, without any doubt.
How many stocks do you broadly own in your portfolio, and what's your style of investment when you are investing in small and mid-cap stocks? What are the factors you look at?
I own a lot of companies because I believe that in investing and in investing in small caps in general, I don't want to be concentrated, because I would rather be diversified to begin with and gradually increase based on my confidence on the numbers in the business, because there will be a lot of failure rate. I mean, it's not like the promised land in all the companies, to be clear. There will be failures, and I'm cognizant. I've been around for 30 years in this game. So I keep it fairly wide, maybe 25 to 50 companies, depending on the kind of the market we are in. And gradually it's like a marathon. So you start out with 100 runners. I've got 100 runners, or not that much, but 50. And then the field will spread out. You will find a bunch of guys leading the pack, 5 or 7 runners. Then you're clustering in the middle of maybe 10 guys. And then there'll be 25 bringing up the rear. You gradually eliminate those guys, bring the money back into the leaders and the midfield people, and bring in new companies to join the race. And it's a constant process. Like I said, in a growth country like India, there are incredible, even IPOs, for example, some of them are now getting more reasonably priced. And you're making significant money even in IPOs. Leave alone the disasters of the Nykas and the Zomatos. I think people have learned their lessons. And now you're seeing more reasonably priced IPOs coming to the markets.
Just by quick final answer, the most overrated sector and the most underrated sector.
The most underrated thing is management and governance.
Most underrated sector.
सर सेक्टर में अच्छा प्रमोटर मिल जाए तो वो सोना बन जाता है, नहीं मिला तो. So the most underrated thing is management and governance. People don't really give too much respect for it. They'll go and dabble in all kind of companies where neither they know management nor they believe there is governance and end up losing money. If people start respecting management and governance, chances of losing money in stock market is very, very limited. The most overrated thing is to believe that there is a moat in the business. We are living in the world of disruption. कल जो चल रहा था आज उड़ जाएगा, आज जो चल रहा है कल उड़ जाएगा. We need people who are paranoid. We need management and companies which are always worried about the disruption coming. You have to invest in companies which are disrupting their own business model rather than waiting for the competitor to come and disrupt. Governance, disruption, ये दो चीज संभाल लो, you will make money in stock market.
The 30-second answer. If you have to invest in a non-Kotak mutual fund, which is one non-Kotak mutual fund you will invest? Kotak में नहीं invest कर सकते.
So 30 seconds, I earn 100 rupee. 39 rupees is taken away by the government. I am left with 61 rupee.
Must be 42%. अच्छा 5 करोड़ में tax कम हो गया अब तो.
Then 20 rupees is taken away by PF and NPS. I am left with 41. Of that 20% is taken away by SEBI in the scheme game. I am left with 21 rupees, which I give to my wife. That's it. So you can ask my wife this question, where is she investing?
I'm completely out of time, and before I wrap this session, what me and Aisha do every day, rise with India. That's what you all should do. Rise with India. Indian stock markets, I think we have a long, long way to go. That's the essence of Nilesh, Shankar and Mark. Thank you as always for joining us.
Thank you.
Aisha,
Thank you.
bye.